In this video, we're going to show you how to replace the rear strut and shock assembly in a Subaru Forester. It's located in the rear wheel wells. I'm going to use a 19mm socket to take the lug nuts off the rear wheel. Usually put the lug nut on the top for the last one. And keep a hand on it when I take it off. You're going to use a 14mm socket and a 14mm wrench, and you're going to disconnect your stabilizer link. All right, you're going to get a 17mm socket and a 17mm wrench to hold on the other side. And we're going to take off this nut for the strut assembly in the rear. All right, so now we're going to use a 17mm socket and a 17mm wrench again for our housing assembly that connects to the knuckle in the rear. All right, so now we're going to take our bolts out. I'm going to put my nut loosely on. Use that to help me get it started. The end of the bolt. Now I'm going to get a pry bar and pull the bolts out from the head. Okay. So I'm going to start with the stabilizer link bolt first. Now I'm going to go to the shock, strut, all right, if you're having trouble getting the bolt out, I recommend using a punch on the other side and just straightening out the other side so the bolt holes line up. Takes the tension off the bolt. You should be able to get it out a little easier. And last but not least, we have this bolt. Trying to get that one out. Okay, we're going to take out the mat. So now we're going to take this out and put it off to the side. Now we're going to take this out. All right, so we're going to take this out. All right, so now you're going to use your trim tool and remove these trim fasteners. All right, there should be another fastener there, but there obviously isn't on this vehicle. So remove that one as well if you have it. And we're going to take this insert out. So I'm using a 14mm socket with a swivel just to get in there. Take out that nut and this one. right, so now we have the car lifted again. We are going to pry down. And once we free it up, we'll take our pry bar out. You're going to want to maybe pry it up out of the housing. Make your life a little easier. Just free it up a little bit. And pull it out. All right, so we're going to take our nuts off the new strut because we want to use these, not the old ones. Put them somewhere safe. Now we're going to feed it up into where it came from, lining up our studs. You're probably going to want to put this in first on the bottom. Push down in the housing. So now that I've lowered the car, I can line up my studs, try again, and keep checking at the top. I'm going to take this little cap here off so I can get a better idea of where I'm in position. All right, so once you have the studs lined up, I'd like to just hold it in place while I get my nuts threaded on. So now we're going to take our new locking nuts. I'm going to start them by hand. We are going to eventually torque these, so we're just going to snug them down for now. So that's snug. I'm going to put this cap back on so we don't forget. We're going to come back to this and torque it later to 22 foot-pounds. Now we've got that in place. We are going to get our pry bar and lower our assembly down a little bit so we can put the strut where it belongs. Line it up with its holes. Like that. Once you get the middle one started and through, you can go for the other ones. So now I'm going to use a little punch, and I'm going to line up my stabilizer bar and get this bolt through as well. I give it a little tap, help it through. Put the nut on. And our last bit is here. So what I'm going to do is lower the vehicle again, rest it on the jack, and feed that bolt through. As you can see, I have my wood further back. You don't want it in the way of this knuckle. You want to have it further back with your floor jack. Once you have your hole lined up, you can now feed your bolt through and thread your nut on. So I've gotten my bolt through on one side. All right, so in order to get the bolt through, I had to use a pry bar and basically put the bolt in at an angle and then slowly pry the bolt by the head through the hole to get it past the knuckle on the other side. Once you get it through on that, and then you can pry up here to get it through the rest of the way. Just move that around a little bit. Once you're lined up, you can go on the other side and continue pushing it through. Just be patient and it should work out. Now I can thread my nut on this side and get ready to tighten everything down. All right, so now I'm just going to snug these up. We are going to torque these later, but I want to get them started at least. I'm going to do the same way, 17 millimeter socket, 17 millimeter on the other end, and just get it going. We'll torque them once we get the wheel on the ground. And the last one is a 14 millimeter socket and wrench. Now we're going to take our jack out of here. We no longer need it. All right, we are going to torque the stabilizer link to 28 foot-pounds. I'm going to torque the strut to 59 foot-pounds. All right, and last but not least, 48 foot-pounds for the bolt for the knuckle. All right, reinstall your rear wheel. I like to put them on hand tight first before I zip them on, that way they're not cross-threaded. Start with the one on the bottom, and that'll just walk the tire on. Then you're going to go in a star-like pattern and snug it up. We're going to torque these to 89 foot-pounds. Now we're going to torque our rear wheels to 89 foot-pounds in a star-like pattern. I usually check one more time, go all the way around, just to make sure I got them all. All right, so the upper strut mount nuts are torqued to 22 foot-pounds. Make sure you have all wheels on and the full weight of the car on the ground before you torque these down. Now we're going to put our styrofoam puzzle back. Now we're going to put our plastic fasteners back in to lock this in place. I'm adding a new one since the other one was missing when we took it apart. All right, and now we're going to start placing the rest of the puzzle together. Okay, so that gets placed on top our actual floor. Drops right in, like so. If you have a rubber mat, now you can place that on top.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.